I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and good evening to folks at home.
10:03.
We have a public hearing scheduled for 7 o'clock, and so I'll ask permission of the town board to open the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, is there any public comment on civil disturbance control? Which, in a nutshell, if there's a problem where the police think that they need extra help, the way it was set up is they would have to go through me to get the extra help. Now we will be granting permission to our chief of police to do the same, or his designated person. So being there is no public comment, I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Now, later on in the meeting, we'll take the paperwork that Justin has for us to pass that resolution. And you might notice we have some young folks in the audience. Sally Dorsch. Could you introduce, not necessarily introduce them, but introduce why you're here?
So,
If you wouldn't mind, if you stand up to this microphone, so everybody knows, that's for the people at home. We have no speakers in here, so we can all hear you in here.
so I have a few of my kids from the town of Highlands United Youth. So what I am doing tonight is I am teaching them, or I'm going to try and teach them, what we go through what goes on when doing an event for the town. So instead of me going and asking for things, it's now their turn to start learning how to do this. So I have a few of my kids. Should I introduce it, like tell you their names?
Sure,
and
this
stuff?
is public
'Cause
comment time right now,
They would actually like
so-
to come up here and present it themselves.
That
So can we do that?
works for me, yes.
All right, who's going to do it?
I'll go ahead and do this. I will also hand out papers.
I need your name and where you live.
I'm Catherine Dorsch. I'm just going to give you each of the papers. You can read along with this.
I love it.
Okay. That's all right.
I love handouts. I love handouts. Thank you. Actually,
That's
No, he
okay.
can have
We
mine.
can share.
You can have mine because I got one from
Save
Sally.
paper.
It's the same one, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, who's on? Don't be nervous. We're all okay. Or just don't be nervous. Just
The
speak
mission
out.
the mission of the Town of Highlands United Youth Group is to provide a safe, inclusive, and empowering environment for the young people of our town to come together and grow in their personal development, leadership skills, and build strong relationships with their peers and community. Through meaningful activities, service opportunities, and intentional mentorship, we strive to foster a sense of belonging, purpose, and hope in our youth as they navigate the challenges of adolescence and preparing for their futures. We are committed to embracing diversity and individuality and equipping our youth and making a positive impact on the world around them. Over the past year and a half, we've been partaking in several community events, whereas our youth and their families have helped to organize, run multiple fundraisers, and collect donations. At this time, we are currently planning our second annual Community Family Fun Day to be held on June 3rd, 2023. We are coming here today to ask the Town of Highlands for continuous support in our endeavors. We would like the Town of Highlands to help us make this day an even more successful annually by providing us with a certificate of liability for this event to help levitate additional fundraising burdens. Our past involvements include, but not limited to, the TOH United Youth Ukraine fundraiser, American Legion, first annual Fun Day, Fickens Field. Anything additional raised was donated to the James I. O'Neill's Senior Bash Gifts, the mini fridges, supplies, etc. The Juneteenth parade, the 4th of July weekend, canoe races, the Center Market, the 4th of July parade participant, and 4th of July volunteers. First Responders Appreciation Day, Karaoke Night Collab, Fall Foliage Vendor Collab, the Trunk or Treat Activities Vendor Collab, the Holiday Hop Collab, Decorating Helpers, Volunteers, Fundraising for Raffle Prizes, and the Main Street Window Collab. Village of the Highland Falls Christmas Parade, and the TOH Women's History Month Event Collab. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now, there's a lot of events that you just read off there. And it says, our past involvements. Obviously, you don't run these events, because there's just too many events there. So how are you involved in these events?
We usually help out as much as we can. Like, I know the Fun Day, we were running most of the booths, helping kids if they need help, and just running most of the organization. So even though we don't actually, run it, we try our best to help as much as we can.
We were on one of the floats and we helped decorate it.
Oh, yeah.
And what else, what are the other events that you guys have done? What do
I
you
know for the holiday hop, we helped build most of like little houses, paint them, decorate them, and just help, decorate the town square and make it look nice and pretty.
Well, at the Women's Day event, Women's History event, we helped out and we helped announce stuff and move chairs and stuff and help behind some.
Yeah, they're a little modest, so let me speak on their behalf. Two of these events, they directly worked with me. One was last year, 2022 Juneteenth. They came out with a plethora of signage to celebrate Juneteenth, and they marched in the parade, and they really did a phenomenal job making it more festive than it probably would have been without their absence. And secondly, when we did our Town of Highlands Women's History Month program, they literally got up and spoke at the event. They also brought signs for that event. They helped me with the moving of certain equipment. I was just really a one-person show, but they came in like the cavalry. And then they came in and helped me put this whole thing on and did a phenomenal job, so much so that I had to give coins to most of them, if not all of them. And but I'm just here to say that I'm one of your biggest fans. You've been doing a phenomenal job in this community, and we need more people like you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else on the board want to say anything to this?
No, it's just great that you participate. Community needs youth like you to come in and, lend a hand and make events successful. You guys are the key to it. And I'm sure everybody, and we appreciate your help. Thanks for doing it.
It's very,
Please
it's very
keep it up.
tough to find good volunteers these days. We keep losing more and more, but, folks like yourself would help us gain volunteers.
So tomorrow night, so after the Christmas parade, so these kids, our group, the Town of Highlands United Youth, they're actually put on the Christmas parade. They got all of those people involved. So that was the last event that we did, because after that, I told everybody I needed a break. But tomorrow night, 6 o'clock at Holy Innocents, we're gonna be doing our very first meeting again to start working on Family Fun Day. And at that time, any of our kids within the community from 6th grade to 12th grade that would like to participate and become a member of the Town of Highlands United Youth are more than welcome. We encourage anyone to come out tomorrow night and then reach out to me if you can, and we'll make it happen. as many kids as possible, because these kids, once they start and they're together, they have such a strong unity, and their love for community has opened up my heart.
Hey, tomorrow night, what time and where?
6 o'clock in Holy Innocents.
6 o'clock, Holy Innocents. There'll be an open meeting.
Yes. So it's an open meeting to any and all the kids within our community that would like to join the Town of Highlands United Youth.
Very good, excellent.
In regards to the point that they was asking about the insurance.
Yeah.
I've inquired about that with Kelly, by the way. I do support it. She has not made a determination at this point if it's doable or not. She's going to research it. That probably means talking to you and talking to
Well,
Justin.
I'm going to bypass you on that. I'm going to
okay.
ask for a motion from the board to provide that insurance
So
to
just so
her
that you
group.
know, last year, when we did our first Town of Highland Family Fun Day, the Town of Highlands actually supported and gave us
Oh,
the
so
insurance.
ask for a motion.
I make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. June, would you see that they get that?
Sally, I just need to talk to you about exactly where it's gonna be, what you need.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's all squared away now.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's on June the 4th, I think I
June
saw?
the
3rd. Oh, I was close.
You're close. Thank you guys so much. What do you guys say?
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you, guys.
Welcome, thank you.
Welcome.
Keep up the great work.
Now, we're going to go on with our meeting. You can certainly stay, or you can leave, whatever you prefer.
Thank you so much for letting us.
Good move.
Don't blame you.
Yeah, yeah.
Have a great day, all of you.
All right,
You
thank
too.
you very
Thank
much,
you.
guys. And thank you for the work you do here in town.
Is this one? They know where to get in? Know when to get out?
Thank you guys very much.
Bye, Sally.
I'm sure that group is not responsible for this, but if anybody goes, well, actually, starting in Highland Falls and down through Fort Montgomery and what have you, the daffodils are really out. And there's I can't thank any one person because there's a bunch of people. This winter, I saw some elderly man, I didn't recognize him, and we're trying to figure out what he's doing shoveling on the bank along 9W. And sure enough, they bloomed, and I know what he was doing. But they're all over the place down there, and it really makes our town look nice. And I appreciate those folks that have, those bulbs didn't drop there from heaven. They were put in by somebody, and we really appreciate the work that was done. Okay. The minutes of our last meeting, March the 27th. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make this, did somebody make a motion? I'll second it. Oh, I'll make the motion or second it.
No, you make the motion.
I'll second it.
And I got a second. All in favor?
All
Aye.
right.
So carried. Thank
Aye.
you. Communications. I did have Sally's letter, which we don't need now. All right, financial reports, I transferred $140,813 from the consolidated account to the accounts payable to cover this week's check run. The bigger items were Cargill for de-icer salt, road salt, $8,158. Orange and Rockland, $7,875. Rockland County Solid Waste for hauling, $14,685. Highland Falls Library, their quarterly contribution, which was $65,000. McCarthy Carpentry for the work he did at the sewer plant, $8,500. And the Office of the State Controller for fines and fees that were collected by the court, $7,085. Any questions on any of those numbers? Okay. Board liaison reports, starting with Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you. All right, so, sound like a broken record, but we'll go through the drill. With the Zoning Board of Appeals, they meet on the third Wednesday of every month. Those meetings are open and here at 7 o'clock. Sometimes they don't have to meet. So there is an applicant before them that's been before them for about the last half year that has some issues with infrastructure from the village of Highland Falls on their property, on his property. I think he met with the mayor today up there. So they will not be meeting this month because that applicant is not prepared to move forward in front of that board. If they meet in May, 2 meetings from now, I will let everybody know. But they will not be meeting this month, the zoning board of appeals. Building department, Gabby sent out the report last week. I have it. If you'd like me to read it, I'll look it up in a moment. I know Melanie reads them off at the village board meetings also. There is a property owner in Fort Montgomery that has been the subject of a lot of complaints. It had a court date, April 5th, that was adjourned rather surprisingly. I don't know if that court date has been redone. I look forward to that happening because this has been going on for a long time down there. In these, I'll get back to the building report in just a moment. On the subject of water, we all know we're dealing with the meters and whatnot. We're making good progress. Gary doesn't like me mentioning his name, but he's the right guy to spearhead it. In short, we have, this is from memory, 125 accounts out of the 436 or 438, depending which chart you go by, that are on wells that choose not to be a water participant in Water District 1 or 2. We have 117 that are radio reads. The radio read is a lot like watching the Flintstones chisel something on a tablet. It's about done. We had a computer that we were going to have New Windsor chuck. They came down and put it back together so we can use a hard drive one last time, and we don't want to estimate it more than one more time. But so the Trimble is on its last legs. Once we get a final inventory, those 117 accounts will be changed to cellular, and there'll be cellular that has a 10-year guarantee and a bunch of other things that we didn't have in the past. So that's forthcoming. In the meantime, we have about 197 existing cellular, of which about 102 aren't reading because of the 3G, 5G thing. Those particular transmitters are called CDMAs. They were made by Verizon. They're obsolete. I think we're going to get a little bit of a refund on those things through Schmidt Wholesale. And what Gary, I don't know if he's spoken with you, Bob, is deciding on, lion's share of this stuff is at Corbin's Hill. So he either attacks with his crew for a day or two, or we go to the outside. I'm gonna try and schedule a meeting before the end of the week if I can make it, early in the morning at 8 o'clock one day with the people I'm talking about, so we can just rip this apart and get it done. So that's my subject on water. Sewer's been a thorn in my side. Sewer, I spent a good portion of my day on Saturday down at pump station number 3, which is behind Jimmy Ripa's house. I want to talk about Jimmy Ripa and Kathy for just a minute. They're very accommodating. There are times where they're on a Sunday enjoying recreational activities and a transformer gets hit by lightning and we got to go down there and do our thing. They're very, very good about it. He calls me if anything goes wrong. So in short, down at that pump station, after a lot of to-do and the plant operator having to go in at 3 in the morning and at 5 in the morning for repeated call-outs, there's a pump that's bad down there. We have 30,000 gallons a day coming in from the trailer park, so I do not feel safe pulling that pump and only having one there. In the event it fails, we're in trouble. So like I talked about with you today, we're going to have TAM bring a standby pump. We'll rent it for 2 weeks. They're going to make the repairs. And the way the plumbing is at that pump station, if we ever have a personnel full-time, the outflow plumbing is such that with a couple of small changes, I don't know if you saw the email I sent out about that today, with a couple of small changes, we can have our own pump lowered in if we had the right generator, which I'm working on, and pump the station down through the existing piping rather than having TAM come in and paying $2,500 every time they take away in the tank. We just need a little bit of modification down there to make that possible. And so I expect that pump station to be repaired in full in 2 weeks. and the pump station in Corbin Hill is identical. This year, I'd like to take care of pump station 3. Next year, I'd like to take care of pump station 2 to avoid all these call-outs from TAM. We'll be able to pump it down ourselves. What else I got here? Oh, so I don't talk a lot about Ronnie Coffee as I should. She made a presentation a couple of Saturdays ago over at the Desmond Fish Library in Garrison. It was fantastic. It was on Constitution Island and the Warner Sisters, which I told you I've never been on an island, unfortunately. And she was kind enough to attend a sit and chat. Sit and chat is sponsored by the center and the sit and chat group, which is basically headed by Pastor Agnes Safori. It's very nice. You have a lot of local pundits that come and speak. And I spoke for about an hour on the subject of the 4 quadrants of water in this community, which are Queensboro, Popolopen. Queensboro is 5,400 acres. Popolopen is 11,000 acres. You have Highland Brook, which is about, I think that's 1,500 acres. And you have Glycerin Hollow, which is about 400 acres. We went through the assets on there, showed some pictures. People seem to like it if I show a picture of a blown up tank. So I do that once in a while to keep them happy. And the old zinc mine, the school where my grandmother went to school at West Grove, where Fufu Galoo, who's deceased now, his wife was a teacher out there. So it was very nice, very well attended. Ronnie came to that. And she sent me a thing saying she did some research that West Point, who has an option down at the Queensboro Dam to get water from either Queensboro or Popolopen, they ran out in 1920 and had to use the Bear Mountain branch. I don't know if they use it that frequently anymore, but they actually ran out one time. That was before Stillwell was built and all that, so they evolved since then. And I thought that was rather interesting. And Olga is here. Earth Day is coming. Olga, we do have Billy Green coming with the beekeeper thing, okay? And I'll let you speak to all the events going on when you're prepared to, because you know you're a lot better versed than I am to talk about all that stuff. A lot of stuff prepared for that day, April 22nd, Saturday. Is it 10 to 2, right, Olga?
Yeah, the library opens at 10. And
Okay, okay. So that's it, and you may have gotten the email where as time goes on, down at the sewer plant, we're so lucky with the part-time help we've had for all these years. You save a lot of money. The bubble might burst one of these days, but we're still okay for now. But I'm having trouble getting people to show up at 2 o'clock in the morning because there's no benefits, there's no overtime. I think we're gonna have to do something where we give them like a $75 or $100 hit just for taking the call and showing up, because I don't really feel like doing it anymore, okay? 45 cents an hour, so that's where we're at with that. Thank you, that's my report.
On the cellular readers that you will be in the future installing, I can tell you from my own experience, I check mine every morning. And I have, what did I count, 2, 4, 6, 8? I think I have about 10 toilets in my buildings that I'm responsible for, and a toilet running goes approximately 80 gallons an hour. And if you've got one of these meters in your house and you check it religiously, like I do, I check it every morning as part of my routine in the morning, and it's very quick to check it. And you see that you've been running the last 4, 5, 6 hours at 80 gallons an hour, you know you got a toilet running. Simple as that. You got a toilet running, go find the toilet, and you're saving yourself 80 gallons an hour. And it amazes me that that could be using that much an hour now, 80 gallons an hour into the toilet.
It is nice to be able to go in the village master meter. I look at it almost every day. We're averaging somewhere between 100,000 gallons and 115,000 gallons a day right now. Our contract with the village is for 150,000 gallons a day. We all know that. When I was on my way up here, I saw a sign down at the Holiday Inn for where a future restaurant, which has kind of been approved, not specifically, and a future hotel has been approved. Those two projects will gobble up about 12,000 gallons of water a day. You have Pine Hills and whatnot. So I know I sound like a broken record, I'm looking forward to be able for these business opportunities to come into fruition. And water is the key to do that. So, with the cellular water meters, I know everybody heard me say for a couple years, I wish it was clipboards, because what we went through to figure it out, you got this piece, and people quit and they go to another job, and the software is redundant and it's obsolete. What a project it's been. But I think we know where we're going. I think we're
Very
there.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the work you do on that.
Thank you.
Councilman King.
Oh, yeah. Good evening, everyone, and good evening, everyone at home. Just a few notes. I'll be brief. Just came back from the dentist a little while ago. I'm still in a little bit of discomfort, so it won't be long. Start with, I want to say there's lots of activities in our library, which is a pleasant sight to see. Because if anybody knows that we want to utilize these facilities so we can continue to have them around. But what we see now is our recreation director, I think, is brilliantly getting folks over there. I tend to go over there periodically to use it for various events. And then there's the stuff that they program themselves. And so you see a lot of activity. So continue to do that for anybody that's watching from the library. And for those of us who are not on the staff, let's continue to use the building as much as possible and take advantage of their wonderful programs. And let me also transition to say that this youth group that just came in, you talk about their mission of empowering youth in an inclusive way. So everyone's welcome. They want to do that and display a form of unity for the community. You know, what a noble effort that is to start them out as young people and teaching them about teamwork and commitment to their community. So I just can't say enough about those folks. But I also want to say, continue to look for others to get involved out there in the community. We oftentimes hear there's not enough to do. It's particularly when kids get to be of teenage, so we find some that stray. But here's an example where it has a adult kind of mentoring the group into positive action. So we need more people to do more of that. Seniors. I've been out here talking to a few folks, and just 2 days ago, one of the seniors caught me in Andy's, and they were talking about how, once again, they'd like to see more activities in the senior center. Now, we've been down this road before. A lot of the problem now has to do with, one, COVID, two, we've lost a lot of our seniors since the time that I got out the military. And so the numbers now have dwindled in both the Highlanders Club and just in general. But that being said, I still think we owe it to our seniors to give them the best quality of life as possible in their twilight years. And so if they want to do things like, play chess, checkers, or even go down there and listen to some music, we should be able to figure out a way to make that happen. And so between myself, my colleagues here, and our counterparts on the village board, I just ask us all to take a look at how we can better facilitate more activity for the seniors. Because believe it or not, there's folks asking for that activity. The other thing that came to my attention is this idea about affordable housing. Apparently, there's increases in some of these rents around here. I'm talking astronomical increases. I haven't done any research, any homework to see what the numbers actually are, but I was at least told that in one case, there's a person that was paying one amount, and then when the increase came, it was double that amount. And so you got to talk about people on fixed incomes, and then it becomes a housing crisis, and people are trying to prevent homelessness in our community. So it's one of those things that has gotten my attention, and I implore the rest of us to take a look at that, because we know in the case of some retail businesses or even nonprofit organizations that was renting, they've moved because some new ownership comes and raises the rent and then won't even do repairs. So I think we got a potential problem on our hands there that we need to really pay attention to. Were you going to talk about the trip to Albany?
I had it down, but while you're at it, you can go right ahead.
Okay. I was looking at Joe because I thought he was the senior guy. I knew it was me at first, but I couldn't sure if it was you or you.
It's all of us. It's all right, Ty, don't worry.
So we're good. So Town of Highlands Recreation Information for Seniors and the Center of Highland Falls will be sponsoring a visit to Albany Tuesday, April 25th, to visit the state senator Skoufis and the tour of the Capitol. That's interesting. And there'll be lunch on your own. 8 seats are available. If anybody's interested, RSVP ASAP. The trip leaves at 7:45 a.m. I don't know exactly from where, but somewhere in the community at 7:45. I assume by Sacred Heart Church. That's usually where the bus lives on these trips. Right outside Sacred Heart. And then it returns at 2:30 p.m.
Oh, it's leaving Albany at 2:30.
It returns back to Highland Falls.
Yeah, I mean,
At
they're-
2:30.
they won't be here at 2:30. They're leaving Albany at 2:30.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So the way they wrote this is departure to Highland Falls. 2:30 p.m. Good catch, Supervisor. So departure to Albany is 7:45. Departure from Albany is 2:30 p.m. Okay, that was a good one. All right, Juneteenth weekend, still rapidly coming towards us. And the good news is a lot of energy, a lot of activity, a lot of participation this year from various people. So Miss Ann Molina and people that's on her committee are heading up the parade. It looks as though that may be much bigger this year. Anybody who wants to get involved and have a float or a band or a dancer or whatever, you contact Miss Ann Molina and you can be involved. And also, from a veteran standpoint, we're doing a 3-day resilience retreat. So if there are any veterans out there in Homeland, we're doing 3 days worth of activities during the Juneteenth weekend. The first day, Friday, June 16th, is a wellness workshop. Call it the Warrior Wellness Workshop. And what that entails is meditation, mindfulness, some medical, basic common terminology about illnesses and sicknesses and how you can address those things. And we're going to use this year a parallel between Western medicine and Chinese medicine. And the reason why, because some of those are non-pharmaceutical approaches. So for example, I suffer from hypertension, and I was talking to some of our instructors for this particular workshop, and they were telling me that is daffodils and dandelions the same thing?
No.
Okay, so dandelions apparently can help your blood pressure. Did you know that?
Only for making wine.
No, you
Then
gotta make it into tea. So, just so you know. The second thing we're gonna do is Juneteenth parade is the 17th of June, 10 o'clock a.m. We'll meet up there at West Point. We'll come out the gate and we'll do our normal 1 mile march down the street to the Memorial Park. That starts at 11 a.m. And then Saturday night, we'll have the 7th annual Resiliency Awards Gala at Ike Hall. And then we'll come back on Sunday and do what's called a prayer breakfast and an equine assisted learning experience over at Morgan's Farm. What that means is there's a methodology where you can use horses to help humans with PTSD and trauma and military sexual trauma and those kinds of activities. We're going to use 6 horses from over here at Morgan's Farm, and we have 3 certified instructors that's going to help with that. So that's coming. It's going to be great. If you're in town or out of town, you are welcome. Subject to anybody's questions, that's all I have tonight.
Juneteenth, the parade.
That's right.
Are you also looking for people such as us?
I'm looking for all of you up here on this
That's what I
panel.
mean. So you're having marching.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So our normal position is up front for everybody that's here, that usually does this every year. And we may be accompanied by some other folks from out of
Yeah,
town,
fine.
but we are gonna be the main effort, and we'll be up front. And, but yes, to answer your question, Supervisor, March.
Okay, Councilman DeWitt?
Thank you, sir. Start out on some other fun notes. Reminder to people, with this Wednesday at the American Legion is the big pocketbook bingo night.
Oh, boy.
There's still room for people. They have a good turnout signed up so far. It's $40. I think you get like 10 cards. They got a whole thing. Looks like it could be a really fun night out. It will be a fun night out. That's this Wednesday. You can walk in at the time, or you could reach out to the Highlands community or the center pages on Facebook if you want more information. But again, this Wednesday, the doors are at 5. Game starts at 6 down at the American Legion on Old State Road. Let's see what other fun things we have. I did go to the senior meeting a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago, and so they're going to be holding elections. They're looking for a new president. You know, they're looking for a whole new crew.
Okay.
So they're kind of reorganizing themselves, and they're hoping to communicate with other organizations and to get more, a little bit more togetherness on the senior things. We'll talk about that later. The things are kind of still kind of happening, but in the meantime, they had a good turnout at their luncheon the other week, and they're looking to elect, with Mr. Burns gone and a few other things. They need to get new people
Good.
to help getting the program together over there. Last week, the cemetery committee got together. We met at Peacedale, and the goal is to inventory toppling tombstones that could be dangerous. We don't want them to break. And we did find a person that will give us a bid. We're still in the beginning processes of that. Finding a company that works on tombstones is not as easy as it thinks. Not every monument person does that kind of work. But I talked to a gentleman, where was he from? I think Newburgh. And hopefully we'll have more information on the road. But thanks to the cemetery committee for getting together last week and starting our observation of what's going on there. Under other events, the electronic waste collecting program is this Saturday at 8 a.m. to noon in Lot 2, which is opposite Sacred Heart Church. And again, you cannot throw out electronic waste in the garbage. We cannot take it to the dump. So again, old lithium batteries, TVs, computers, erase the hard drives on them. You could go to the town website, get a further list on the electronics that you can bring in person and get rid of them. Hopefully, like I said, last year's event was so successful. They're talking about potentially doing 2 this year. That's to be determined as well. But this Saturday, definitely. So come on out, get rid of your electronics waste, and do us all good. It's free to drop off. Coming up, we do have on Saturday, April 22nd, there's 2 big events here going on. I talked about a little bit, the Community Coalition Day and the Earth Day programs. Olga, are you going to speak more? I know we already talked about whatever. Olga, you hate to stand up. But again, there's 2 big events that day. You can find information too that I know MJ will have information in the paper. She always does. And so there's 2 big come out that day if you're in town on Saturday. I want to thank again Olga, who worked, she submitted an environmental grant, and we're trying to get $5,000, and we were looking at a few ways, if we get the grant, how to spend the money. What's that?
You have the grant. The grant was awarded, you just needed to put in.
Spend it.
Well, I'd be honest with you, I didn't realize that. So we do have the grant, so now we're just going to find out when it's coming to us.
Yeah, you have to tell them what you're going to do.
Yeah, we have to spend it, and then they'll reimburse our expense.
Okay, all right, my mistake on that. I thought we were still waiting to hear about getting it granted. I didn't realize that. Okay, thank you, Olga. Okay. hey, $5,000's $5,000, it's coming. We had looked at, obviously, we have some old buildings here in town that a lot of things need an environmental attack. The town hall being the biggest with all these big windows, they're single panes of glass. A lot of them, most of them don't function, so we decided that we're gonna apply to start redoing some windows here in the town hall, make the place a little more environmentally sound. June was nice enough to make some recommendations on how she'd like to see the windows done. Be nice to be able to open a window and get some fresh air here in the town hall when the weather's nice, so we'll keep you apprised of that. But again, thank you, Olga, for, as always, environmental relating and so many other things. You're digging that out and helping us get it done. I would say it wouldn't get done without you, so thank you again, Olga Anderson. And lastly, for those keeping up on our good old Orange and Rockland prices in the CCA, Orange and Rockland still winning as of business close today. The kilowatt per hour cost was 3.8 cents. I think they hit near 6 midweek. But again, according to the chart I look at, 3.8 cents per kilowatt hour as of the close of business today for the price of electricity from O&R. That's all I got. Thank you.
Speaking of that,
Yes.
I was approached in church this Sunday by someone who did not get a letter. So he wants to know what he has to do to opt out. So I suggested to him to call Orange and Rockland.
Okay.
Orange and Rockland will help them.
They want,
Orange and Rockland will help them, but if he didn't get a letter, it's because he already has a third-party contract.
All
Or
right,
is in another
I
program.
understood.
Right, right, so he's already opted out.
Okay,
If he's got another.
I don't have a third party, and I didn't get a letter either.
Right, me either, because I have a third party.
you, because you do
I
have a
don't
third
have a third
party.
party.
Oh, you don't?
I get 4 bills, and I got no letter.
Oh, okay, well, that's the
Just
usual,
saying.
or there's some other arrangement for bill paying.
Yeah. And right now, I don't care if I get a letter, because I'm going to opt out anyway, because the way the situation is now, yes.
Well, you know,
Well,
I would say call Jewel, I can give you that number.
Okay.
I have the list of contacts. You could call, or even the easiest way, tell them, the Town of Highlands website has the dedicated CCA place you can click on, and there is an opt-out tab. It's a little blue box in the middle of the page on the right. Click on that. It just have your O&R bill handy, so you have your account number, and it really is, it's very easy to opt out.
Yeah, I'll see him this Sunday then.
And if you want, please tell him to give him my email or number. I have the information. I could send it to him instantly.
Councilman Yeager.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We had just wanted to say, hope everybody had a wonderful Passover and Easter this past week. Beautiful weather out there. See a little burnt on my face here, but it's all good. No sunscreen, which I'm bad, but I'll get better at that. We also had over this weekend was our rain date for our Easter egg hunt, which the rec department did a wonderful job of once again. We had over 250 kids show up and, going nuts trying to find eggs everywhere out in Roe Park. So it was a great event, always has been, even when my kids were growing up doing that. It was a really good time. So we also had women's softball, Army's West Point women's softball held a clinic over the weekend. Very successful turnout for that, for all the girls in our community here as well that were able to go to that and work together. So that was really, really nice, and special thanks to the Army West Point softball team. Coming up Tuesdays and Thursdays, starting tomorrow, over 13 open gym starts. It's from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Highland Falls Intermediate School. Ponytail and Little League is opening day is fast approaching on April 29th. On a positive note, Ponytail is going to be adding a 4th team this year, which is great for competition amongst all the other the teams that are out there. And then on the other note, for Little League, they unfortunately have to go from 5 teams down to 4 due to lower than expected registration numbers this year. Tryouts for all Little League new players and all returning Orioles from last year will be held this Tuesday, April 11th at 5 p.m. at the Highland Falls Little League Field. This is also an opportunity for anyone who hasn't yet registered to do so. This tryout is necessary for team placement. Flag football registration still remains open. T-ball and coach pitch baseball starts April 22nd. The lifeguard CPR class is set up for this Friday at 7 p.m. as a reminder. And folks that were there from last year, their waterfront certifications are good through this summer, so no extra class for that. Our community CPR is Sunday at 1 p.m., and we maxed out at 15 people, so that's great. There's people out there that want to participate, and hopefully doesn't have to come to saving a life, but if they had to, they're trained to do so. So, and then just so everybody knows, porta potties are out and have been delivered to all our local parks. We had our ambulance corps meeting on this past Tuesday on April 4th. It's some positive excitement there as our new fly car is in and is finally on the road as of today. And, you know, that's going to be great to get us to the scenes much quicker and to assess the situation to make sure we have the right care to administer. But on another note, coming up, we're going to be in a need for a new ambulance. And it's a big number. Our oldest one is a 2009 ambulance that had 77,000 miles on it. Just got out of the shop with $6,000 transmission put back into it. And, you know, we live in a valley, I would say. We have the mountains to cross all the time and up and down the hills, so puts a beating on those vehicles. And it's a 2-year waiting list to get a new ambulance. So if we ordered it now, we won't see it for 2 years down the road, unfortunately. So we got to baby this one while we can and see what we can do to figure out funding for that. And lastly, I just thought I'd put it out there as a community service for myself. Well, not for myself, but for the community. Anybody with any gardening questions, landscape or whatnot, if you'd like to ask any questions or have any questions about what's in your yard, any issues, problems, just let me know. You can email me here at the Town of Highlands, and if I can figure it out for you, I'll let you know. And if I have to come see it, I can come see it and give you some ideas. But just throwing that out there.
Thank you.
That's it.
Chief?
Okay, whole bunch of stuff.
I got some stuff for you too, so
For the
go
month of
ahead.
April, month of March, this is April, never mind. Month of March, we had handled 590 calls for service, 304 were directed patrol assignments, made 3 arrests, had 10 cases, 9 motor vehicle accidents, issued 48 traffic tickets. Activity's still moving along. Something else, but I forgot what it was.
Well,
I'm still waiting to schedule a meeting with the Department of Transportation regarding 9W, and waiting to hear from some of the places that I've looked at funding for the speed camera signs. Our new vehicles with new electronic equipment in them are functioning perfectly. Have been since last Thursday. Just keep our fingers crossed.
okay, while you're there, the chief has a number of electronics that he wants to dispose of in our disposal day on April 15th, I think it is. He's got a Panasonic laptop with serial numbers, damaged keyboard not repairable. Another Panasonic laptop, damaged keyboard not repairable. The old live scan fingerprinting system is obsolete and unable to be updated. These are two things I didn't know what. Computer inventory ticket, what's that?
On some of the equipment, the old live scan system, they actually had Town of Highlands inventory sticker numbers. So Kelly should know, or should have in her list of inventory, the specifics about that sticker number.
Okay, so that's a computer you want to get rid of, and it's got that sticker now.
Well, yeah, that's the computer from the live scan, the fingerprint scanner from the live scan system.
Yeah.
That was all part of that
The
system.
video camera?
And the video
attached to that?
camera was
Yeah.
all part of it.
Okay, by the way, town board, you all got a copy of this from the chief.
And all the hard drives have been removed, and
I took all of them out, and they'll,
so if they get it, they would need a new hard drive as well, just so they're aware.
all the hard drives came out, and then I'll take them up to the highway garage, put them on a drill press, and put 4 or 5 holes in them, and put them in a box for the next electronics recycling day.
So I'll ask for a motion to declare all of this equipment surplus.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Chief sent me a email back in March, and he's suggesting that it would help out his staffing issues if he could hire 2 or 3 full-time police officers. I just want you to know, Chief, that this has not been just pushed under the desk and what have you. I'm looking into it, and I'm seeing what we can do, what we can't do. In particular, with the union, what we can do and what we can't do. With the part-time police department, what we can, if we can put in full-timers. I know we have in the past. So it's not put in the trash can. I'm looking into it. And the town board, if there's anything you can help me out with on this too.
Just on that, we are the only police department in Orange County that does not have full-time police officers. We're the only one in the county out of 33 departments.
I wish we could keep it that way. We got to get some in, because obviously the savings to the taxpayer is phenomenal. And
We lose a good number of people that we hire to full-time jobs.
Yeah.
And it's getting more difficult to recruit replacement employees.
Mhm.
And the hiring process and the
Then you gotta
background
train them.
process is
Yeah,
getting
doesn't pay.
severely more stringent with New York State's Police Reform Act that was enacted in 2020, I believe. So it's a more, a more arduous process to do backgrounds and to hire. So if we could hire full-time and they're gonna stick, and keep them, that would be and it would solve
We'll work with you
Staffing
as
issue.
best we can. And just a side note, I belong to this club in Rockland County, and there's quite a few police officers that also belong to the club. And every time I get a chance to sit down and talk to them, I say, we got a job. You need a part-time job? We got one. And even if the person I'm talking to kind of laughs me off, I planted that seed in his mind that maybe he's got somebody that he could send up here. So I'm trying.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. Anybody else have anything? Okay. All good? I was told that you're getting up there and telling us what's going on here.
Yeah, well, I've mentioned this before, and we do have an Earth Day event coming up on the 22nd, which is actually our 4th birthday. the 4th birthday of the Environmental Committee, so happy birthday to us.
Happy birthday.
Um,
Do we have to
so-
sing?
Pardon me?
Do we have to sing?
Please. There will be cupcakes, so do come. We have a lot planned and a lot of fun and interesting information. We're going to have special guest of Dirtman, superhero Dirtman, and there'll be plant swaps. So if you have a plant and you need to get rid of it and you want a different one, we'll be swapping plants, we'll be swapping seeds. There's just going to be a ton of information about, we'll have an electric car there. We're going to be talking about recycling. I would just ask folks who to pay attention to our Facebook page. We're going to be posting little videos that we'll be sort of proclaiming what's coming down the road, so you'll be able to stay in touch with that. But I did want to also mention that that $5,000 grant, that's a designation grant. There is, if we can complete a couple more actions, then we could be in line for a $10,000 grant. Again, just, once we complete those actions and submit that paperwork, they'll let us know that we have the money, we just need to tell them how we're going to spend it. So it might be a good idea to think now about how you want to use, because I can guarantee you we'll finish those actions. They're next to done now anyway. So we'll be pursuing that. So please, if there's more windows that can be done in town hall or doors or anything else that you can use to complete this project, we can do that too.
Thank you, Olga, for all you do. Any questions from the board?
No, thank you, Olga.
Okay. Gary wrote me a little note here that he has a 2003 GMC pickup truck from the sewer plant and a 2007 Dodge pickup truck from the highway department. He would like to declare them surplus and put them up for auction.
Motion to do so.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So carried, thank you.
I forgot to mention, the new sewer truck is in service, lettered, they're using it, so.
Gary gets them all lettered real quick. He does a good job with that.
Can't hide in the deli parking lot now, we know where they
Okay.
are.
Justin, you might give us a little explanation on the civil disturbance control.
Certainly. I thought your recap was perfect during the public hearing portion of the process, but it's local law number 3. It's laid out in the general municipal law that allows for this designation of the chief or his designee to work on mutual aid when necessary, either providing it or requesting it. So this local law simply gives the chief the ability to do that. And you've got a resolution to approve the local law.
I'll ask for a motion to move the resolution to adopt the local law, adding Chapter 4 entitled Civil Disturbance Control to the Code of the Town of Highlands.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember King.
Aye.
Councilmember DeWitt.
Aye.
Councilmember Hager.
Aye.
Supervisor Lipsey.
Aye. It was suggested to me by our comptroller and other people that work here in the town hall that they get so many personal leave days in the employee's handbook. And they have to take a whole day, even if it's a 2-hour dental appointment. So what she's suggesting is that you could take any part of a day, but hours, of course, 2 hours, 1 hour, whatever it takes, and instead of wasting your whole personal leave day on something. So I have a resolution that will amend the employee handbook of the Town of Highlands personal leave section. And
said it well. You described that well.
Oh,
It's
all
just
right.
changing full days to 1 hour
If
increments.
I keep doing a job like this, we're not gonna need you here anymore. All right, so I'll ask for a motion to move the resolution.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember King.
Aye.
Councilmember DeWitt.
Aye.
Councilmember Hager.
Aye.
Supervisor Lindsay.
Aye. Okay. Councilman Yeager and I are working on a policy and procedure for recreation program discounts. One of the things we noticed that we didn't like is there's too much put on the shoulders of the recreation director, whereas in our present policy, a discount can be at his discretion. That's not a way to run a business. So we're trying to do policy and procedure on paper, and so that it kind of takes the weight off of his back. So we're working on it. Maybe next meeting we'll have something ready to pass. Anything else?
Just on the subject of police, because most of us have been here for a long time, that's an intense discussion and a topic to look at. Back in, I think it was 1996, Judge Lent called a town meeting at the Fort Montgomery School, invited Jimmy O'Donnell and my brother Mick, who were captains out at, the commanders out of Troop F, to talk about having the state police come here. That kind of died. When Inga was supervisor, I had the pleasure / displeasure of being on a committee of 6, and we sent surveys out to everybody that lived outside the village of Highland Falls. Mary Jane dedicated a whole article to it to see what it is that people thought that they might want. It was kind of interesting because I'm not so sure they knew, but I can tell you down in Fort Montgomery, they like their Fort Montgomery Police Department, nothing against the village of Highland Falls. It was made pretty clear they didn't want to see that department go away. So at that time, we had one full-time officer, or no, that was, I'm sorry, that was, no, it was, Dave Ramsey was still here. It was after that, he was a dare officer, that position was eliminated. That's the only full-time officer I ever remember in that department. Up until then, I think it was mostly full-time.
We had one female full-time.
Okay, oh, that's right, Claudine, she was full-time. She was a dare officer also.
Yeah.
So the dare program probably required that. So you walk around and you'll have people say, man, you know, Richie, my taxes or whatnot, we don't need them at nighttime. It's a small town. Until you hear that there's an ambulance call where someone wasn't able to respond for 37 minutes. Then they want to have a fully manned police department. We need to have some intense discussions on this subject because it is huge to the budget. And once you go with a couple of full-time officers, they're going to need a sergeant. You're going to get involved with civil service like everybody else is. You're going to double the budget like in no time at all. I'm not saying we don't need to do that. That's going to require a lot of discussion with us and with the chief and other people in that, you know, so
That's why I
it's
brought.
a big topic.
That's why I brought it up. I didn't want the chief to think I threw it in the garbage, but at the same time, there's a lot that goes with that.
That's it. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.